I finally got my hands on a Ubiquiti Dream Machine Pro. Ubiquiti back during the holiday season had promoted a discount for the Dream Machine, and I was able to get one. This is going to be a direct replacement for the Ubiquiti Cloud Key Gen2 Plus that's operating my Network OS and my Protect OS on my current UniFi network. From the website, the Ubiquiti Dream Machine Pro is an enterprise-grade rack-mount UniFi cloud gateway with full UniFi application support, 10 gigabit performance, and an integrated switch. Let's take a look at the site and see the other details and what's supposed to be in the box. It does support all of the UniFi applications, so Protect, Network, Identity, all of the ones that are integrated today in the Ubiquiti Cloud Key. It has intrusion detection, intrusion prevention, has various states for LAN ports. It has SFP modules for up to 10 gigs with SFP Plus. It has the same touchscreen that we saw in the prior video for the Ubiquiti standard switch, so you can interact with the device using that touchscreen and augmented reality, all of the features available in the Ubiquiti apps. And it has a 3.5-inch NVR hard drive bay. For this application, we're going to be using a Western Digital Purple 2 terabyte drive. Western Digital Purples were touted as great drives for NVR applications, so that's why we picked one of those up. As we look at what's going to be in the box, fairly standard. No frills, no thrills. You get your power cable, various pieces of hardware, your rubber feet if you're going to sit it on a shelf. Not everybody applies it in a rack. Sit it on a shelf, make sure it doesn't slide around. They do provide cage nuts. Thank you, Ubiquiti. And the ruling may be out on whether or not people like cage nuts. I know there's some new technologies out there for mounting devices and racks that doesn't require you to slam your fingernail into one of these cage nuts, but to each their own. We'll use the ones supplied here in the video. And it also includes the hardware and the ears to mount it into the rack. Same as the switch and what we saw in the switch video. So we'll skip those install pieces. It's all going to be the same. You're just screwing them into the side. Nothing really important there. We'll get to the nitty gritty of it, which is getting the drive installed. What does that look like? What does the drive bay look like? How to get it onto your network, make sure that it gets a DHCP address, and then go through the base configuration, very similar to how we did the Ubiquiti Cloud Key. This device will register to your UniFi account. You will set it up, and then we get to dive into the fun, which is exporting all of the information from the UCK and then reloading it onto the Dream Machine so that we can take over management of the network from the UCK to the Dream Machine and also set up all the other fun elements that are needed for an edge device, such as the WAN IP address, LAN scheme, any of the VLANs, subnets, etc., that may or may not be carried over in the conversion from the UCK. Let's go ahead and get started with the unboxing first, and then we'll dive into the technology of it. Let's start with the unboxing. On the back of the box is all the information about the Dream Machine Pro. The specifications, port information. It's a nice box. A lot of the UniFi equipment comes in similar boxes. Case in point, here's a small little switch that we're going to be installing in another video. You can see the consistency in the boxing. To open, there's a little tab right here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that all the way down. And then on the inside, okay, looks like there's some more information about the Dream Machine and how to connect it. See some of that right there. I'm not worried about that. We're just going to wing this thing. Not really. I know what I'm doing, but instructions, who needs them? Am I right? Okay. So this box came right out of here, right at the top. Let's see what's inside. All right. So here, before I take everything out, because I'm excited to get this thing finally open, you can see power cable, hardware, ears, manuals. There you go, standard power cable. Your ears. And what else is in here? I think this is just the UDM Pro setup guide. I'm gonna go ahead and yeet that out of the way. I really don't mind documentation, but we've done a bunch of these. So this is all of the hardware. Feet, screws for the ears, and then screws for the cage nuts that are going to go into your rack if you are applying it or installing it to a rack. And we have Ubiquity Protect, so you can put that on your front door, keep all the bad people away, let them know you are being recorded. And that is called a deterrent, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pull this bad boy out. Shut the box over there. And see that the unit itself is very well protected and wrapped as it comes out of the box. All right, let's get this styrofoam out of the way. I'm gonna go pick up that paperwork. Yeah, it's over here. Okay. So without all of the styrofoam on it, see it's wrapped up nicely. All you gotta do is peel it back. We'll say Ubiquity makes really nice looking equipment. It reminds me a lot of Cisco Meraki equipment. It's very similar color and everything out of the box. Very nice. And then on the back, you can see the stack cables. You have the power in. Then on the front, your LCD touchscreen, drive bay, ports. And I believe that's your WAN, port 9 on the front. You can also use port 10. It's indicated by a blue globe icon. And you have 10 gig SFP ports on this unit, which is excellent. The UDM Pro, I believe it's the special edition, has PoE switch ports. So if you needed power over Ethernet and you were just running very small network off of that device, that would work for you. Let's go ahead and get this stuff off the desk and start configuring this thing. All right, we have the feet installed, and I want to take a moment to just say, make sure you have a good screwdriver. I'm going to include a link to this. I'm not sponsored in any way. I'm not that important yet. But this is one of the best tools that I keep in my toolbox as a network and systems engineer. And it is just fantastic. USB-C chargeable and just wonderful. Anyway, on to the important stuff. Okay, we are here with my good friend Studious Bear. And what we are going to do right now is get this unit plugged in. We're going to take a look at the boot process from the LCD screen. I'm going to patch it into my network. And then we'll get on and see how to set this thing up. It should get DHCP from my DHCP server, which is my current firewall. We'll get onto it, go through the base configuration, set it up to my Ubiquity account, and then we're going to look at the documentation for how to convert from the Ubiquity Cloud Key to the Dream Machine Pro. Let's go ahead and get it plugged in. Well, I got it upside down. Let's get it right side up, shall we? Let's take a look at that boot process. All right, we'll go ahead and fast forward until that is done. Now that the Dream Machine is fully booted up, let's take a look at what it's telling us to do. So go ahead and plug in cable, and that is indicating to plug it into port 9, which is the RJ45 Ethernet port for internet on the UDM Pro. What we're going to do now is we'll go ahead and get that plugged in. I'm going to grab my Ethernet cable from under the desk. This is running back to my main network rack to get this set up with DHCP. One thing that I did out of order, and I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the UDM Pro, and we're going to do a quick introduction, a quick overview of how to install the hard drive so that we have that Western Digital Purple drive in there as everything boots up. So all we have to do is do the base configuration and get everything ready to go. So we'll be cut to that with the magic of editing. Unlike the Ubiquity Cloud Key, the UDM Pro takes a 3.5-inch drive. What is useful about this is in the front, I actually initially thought that that was like a paper clip slot to go ahead and push in to get the drive bay to pop out, but it's not. It's easier than that. Go ahead and click that out. And then on the inside, it gives you instructions. You can use a 2.5 inch drive if you want to go SSD or whatever you prefer to use, but it's designed for a 3.5 inch drive. It also has a little anchor screw on there to get the hard drive in. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we're going with a Western digital drive. This is just a 2 terabyte drive. This is enough for me to spend a little bit of money just to get the experience with the UDM Pro. And it's very, very simple. All you do is you lay down the drive facing up, and you can see how it indicates to lay the drive for where the power is going to go in, and all of the ports for the rear of the drive. Let's go ahead, and it just kind of sits in there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the video where I'd like to introduce my own public service announcement to read the manual on things. Don't do what I do and yeet the instruction manual over your shoulder because you get cocky and you think you know what you're doing. I've not set up a UDM Pro yet. I've set up the Ubiquiti Cloud Key. The drive insertion process is a little bit different on this. So as you watch me fumble around, understand that you should always read the manual and always read the instructions that they print ever so kindly on the drive bay so you don't jack it up. I'd like to continue with the video now as you have fun laughing at me while I struggle installing the rest of the drive. Thank you. All right, so let's look at installation. So you can see how it's going to be installed, and you start on this side because it'll snap right in. Let me look at some of these pieces. It's got a little drive LED indicator, so this will connect into the back, and you'll see an LED indication through the front that'll be passed through that small hole in the front, so you can see the drive LED indicator. Then there's hard pins on this side, which go into the traditional screw holes on the side of the drive. So what we'll do is we'll snap that in first, and then bang, clips right in. Nice and easy. Now you can put the screw in on the side, and I'll just do that for sake of exercise. And I will give credit to Ubiquiti. I love when vendors package their hardware this way because it doesn't go flying all over the place, and it's not sitting in a bag, and it can't easily get lost. This is nice and neat, so kudos to Ubiquiti for doing that. What we're gonna do, see if, I don't know that this bit is gonna work, but we'll give it the old college try. Need steady hands like a surgeon. I think the drill bit might be a little too big. What a momentum. Okay, let's try that again. Really? What we need is the right tools for the job. I have a micro tool kit, but I don't know where it is. So keep your tools organized, folks. Don't be like me. I am very organized, but in this case, I can't find a tool kit. So I found a screwdriver that fits this particular screw head. And that's it. It's just a little anchor screw. Oh no, make me look bad. Let's get that in there. Okay. That's neat. It has a little please remove sticker on this side. We're gonna go ahead and make sure that's completely off. Fantastic. Okay. And nice Ubiquiti logo. This thing's great. I'm gonna first unplug the system, and then we're gonna slide the drive back in. I am not being gentle at all, folks. Don't follow my lead here. We're gonna plug this bad boy back in. We're gonna wait for it to boot back up. We're gonna patch in the Ethernet cable. And then what do you think, Studious Bear? We get this thing set up? Big time thumbs up. Now that we have the drive set up we have it powered on, we're going to plug in to the network. And this way it'll get DHCP on port 9, just like it shows in the display here. We got a link light, that's great. Drive blinking light, that's great. We'll see this change in a second. It'll indicate that it has a connection to port 9, and then we'll see what the address is on our subnet so that I can get to the web interface and start going through the base configuration. Let's switch back over to the PC, look at the base configuration, start building this thing from the web UI. We're going to change things up here. We're actually going to set this up through the Ubiquiti app. So I'm going to show how we go ahead and do that. So now we can see we have a new device found, so we're going to go through the setup process. So I'm working off of my iPad here. We'll connect to the device. And I have a feeling it's going to start registering. Yep, there we go. Phone connected on the front display. Let's give this a name. TCD for the computer dad. Got to keep everything on brand. Where am I looking? There we go. Forgot my naming convention for a second there. All right. Testing some internet speeds, even though it's not fully set up for WAN. Don't have anything special at home, folks. Just a regular business circuit with a /29 so I can lab some cool stuff at home. It's very slow. They don't have fiber in my area. I'll be okay. All right. So we've not done this, so we're learning this as I'm recording. This is wonderful. Oh no. Okay. I lost a little bit of the screen recording there. I wasn't paying attention as I was looking down. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's a standard next finish. It did do a speed test. I'm not sure what it recorded, so I'll fix that in post. What it did do is a speed test to check the internet, but this again is not configured right now. It's doing what would be effectively a double NAT out if it were doing any type of downstream networking for devices plugged into the LAN side ports on this. But right now it's getting DHCP from a DHCP server, so it's going out the public scheme and then out to the WAN. What these devices are designed to do is be connected directly to an ISP's equipment, get a public IP address from that, and then downstream is your private IP addressing scheme. It's a firewall, and that's what it's going to be doing. So we'll let this get set up. We'll continue to go through the configuration, and then the next piece is going to be backing up the UCK information, the network protect, all of that, and getting it onto the DreamStation. And then we have to get the DreamStation configured for WAN connectivity. I'm going to be replacing a Juniper SRX 320 firewall with the UDM Pro as my edge device. Since this video is almost 19 minutes long as it is, we're going to cut this into two parts. So part one is just what you saw, the unboxing, how to connect the ears, how to set up the drive, get that initial connection into the device so you can start doing the setup either through the app or through the web UI. In this case, we chose to do it through the app. Part two is going to be the configuration of the UDM as the gateway, how we set that up for WAN connectivity from a Comcast, Verizon, Charter, whomever you have for your internet service provider, into the WAN port on the UDM Pro. And then we're going to back up all of the settings, network, and protect applications in my particular deployment from the UCK onto the UDM Pro. From there, we'll do a video of the rack and stack process where I'm going to take my Juniper SRX 300 out of the rack, and I'm going to introduce the UDM Pro, patch in my internet connection, and make sure everything stays up, and then get into the specifics of how and what we can do inside the UDM Pro UI and inside the Ubiquiti app. Very exciting stuff. I appreciate you following along. If there's any feedback at all, as I always ask at the end of my videos, please be sure to provide it. It helps me get better at this process. If there's anything else you'd like to see, or review as part of the Ubiquiti ecosystem. Happy to do that as well. Leave some information, questions in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.